Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Walking with the Master. No, I am not Grandmaster Abdul, Azziz, Muhammad, but I have him sitting next to me. And we are fortunate enough today for the master that we're walking with to be Grandmaster Abdul Azziz Muhammad. I have to say, we're coming to you live from Kansas City, Missouri. We had an incredible, absolutely phenomenal seminar today. Did we have a great seminar today? Yes,
so we're going to do the hook punch, like 1, so we continue hook punch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. So come on, underneath 1, 3, 4, continue. This, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just we'll stop at that. 1, 2, 3. So we get forward. 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next. So let's start with that, because then we'll go somewhere else too. Okay? So the whole thing is this. You got somebody, this is think, that's more than you want to catch that right away. Right? So that, so we're going to 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once I get in the air, 1, 2, I'm focused. So it's going to be 1 and hold. This is going to come right over here. Let's keep it on the side. 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
So as our teacher is next to us, we thought it would be a good idea that as we explore walking with the master, that some of the students have an opportunity to ask questions. And we know that the viewing audience, those of you all who view, will also have those questions as well. How did everything go today, Grandmaster?
It went fantastic. I was definitely blessed to be in the presence of those that came out today, and I'm looking forward to next year already.
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, we had the participants ask some questions, and we had all age ranges. So we have questions from some of our children. We have questions from the adults. And so what we want to do, if it's okay with you, Grandmaster, we'll jump right in with some of the questions.
Please, let's do it.
All right. So our first question: what tips or advice do you have for persons who start the martial arts in their 60s?
Awesome. Great question. I would say understanding the time that we're in. For instance, I'm in my 60s, but I have to say that, your 60s may be someone else's 50s. It may be someone else's 40s, or you could be in a condition that is like someone else's older years. So the question is handled by what is your condition? Where are you at this time, which will determine. So not so much in my 60s, but in my condition is a better question. And I would then have to ask, what is your condition? So if we look at traditional 60-year-old, if we look at a traditional 60-year-old that is in a state that you may not have been training. So if you got a person that hasn't been training like you would like, then that means that we need to just start on the process of training on whatever level that you can. But the biggest part is start. You have to start. As a matter of fact, Denzel Washington said, and I really appreciated, said, first thing you have to start. Because if you don't start, you'll never get to a destination. And then he said, but when you start, you have to continue, meaning you have to have consistency. Because if you don't have consistency, you'll not just not get to your destination, but for the most part, you won't get to your destination. So get started, and as you begin to move forward, you will begin to understand where you are, so you can continue further. That's what I would say.
That's incredible. So, in that, Grandmaster, you know, when you teach someone who sees maybe age is a factor, maybe health condition is a factor, and view that as limitations, how do you address that?
Well, you know, we can't look at limitations. We look at condition, you see, because a person who has no ability to move their legs, you know, we have to say to that person, if they are looking for training, I have to say or look at what it is that they're limited in and strengthen everything that they are not limited in. So that becomes, we over exaggerate in every other area, so that you know, one would not look at them, you know, or let's just say they would look at them as a limitation, but once they get a chance to be touched by their strengths, they'll compensate for it.
Yes, sir. Incredible. You know, I'm looking at this next question, and we're going to go to the kind of stay on the topic of age. This is by one of our young ones that wants to know, at what age did you begin training?
Well, I began training, well, I normally say at 9 years old. But when I add the boxing and my oldest brother actually sharing with me that aspect of training, which is boxing, I began doing that, I would say more like 5 years old. You know, it was before leaving, which most of you may not know, I was born in the South. I was born in the South, in Mobile, Alabama. And I left Mobile with my parents, and we got into New York when I was 6 years old. So it was before leaving that I received some training from my oldest brother. So I would say it was a year or two before that he began to show me how to move and in terms of boxing.
All right. Mobile, Alabama. That's the fact. So we have another question. It's, what is the hardest thing when it comes to basic exercises? And what do you do after class that improves your skills? That is, and they put a caveat, when you were a beginner. So what was the hardest thing when it came to basic exercises? And what did you do after class when you were a beginner that improved your skills?
Well, what were the difficult exercises, or, well, really, the way all of the exercises was taught, it was difficult.
Yes, sir.
Because it's not the exercise. In particular, it was the degree of pressure that the exercise was placed, the number of that particular exercise that was given, the kind of stress, again, that the teacher put on the exercises. And what did I do, you know, after class that made it better for me? Was the same thing that I got during class, doing it after class. So I did it, and I did it with the same kind of spirit. Because when I was, I mean, let me just say, you know, just for instance, when we used to do the the exercise where you would stretch and the legs are open, and you had a partner who placed their feet on the inside of your thighs, and they would pull. See, but with us, they pulled us off of our behinds. So you're in the air where you cannot get out of it. And so you have to find a place in your mind to be able to accept it and find some ease in the difficulty. And through that, so what did I do? I put myself against the wall. I allowed somebody else, if there was anyone else that was working with me, I just put on myself the same thing with the same intent to create that, and that's how I was able to get through those things. I made it something that I had to do on my own, and I didn't leave class being happy. I just left. I was always the last one getting off the mat. Always the last one, because I just wanted to keep on working out. I enjoyed myself in the difficulty.
That brings to mind, if, just say, we're having class Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and say as a student, I'm in every class, I'm giving my all in the class, but outside of class, all my training is limited to the class. Is that a pathway to growth, or?
Well, no, it's a pathway to trying to just save yourself from growth. No, you must do more, because you have to think about your life. You have to think about your life, and if you're not practicing when you're away, that means that you don't believe that it is necessary when you're away. So you'll always find my hands moving, because I'm constantly thinking. So that's why you'll find me exercising, doing things other than, when I'm in class. I have to always prepare myself for what I'm actually training for. Training is not the end all be all. It's not what you're doing it for to just practice. You're practicing for a reality that's going to come. And if you believe that you're really practicing for that, you will do something at a time that's when no one is in control of you but you. So you have to practice. You must.
That's very powerful. Very powerful. And this person wants to know, how do you balance training with work? And I do see sometimes, if you have a heavy workload, it's easy to get taken out of your rhythm. And how do you balance that training and work so that you don't have to keep starting over?
Well, I believe that in terms of work, we separate our life and lives. We separate it into these compartments. But you can be in a situation where you have to defend your life at work. But you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about, how can I balance it? Well, the part of defending my life is constant. It is while I'm at work, I'm thinking about it. When I'm on the way to work, if I'm in the bus, or if I'm driving, in Chicago, there are carjackings all of the time. So if I'm not thinking about it, then I can be caught off guard. Caught by surprise. Well, surprise only means that you weren't at that time thinking about what you needed to be thinking about. You should never be caught by surprise. You should always be looking for something to happen, looking at work for something to possibly happen. So that way you will always be ready. And you're also ready to not just fight, but you can be ready for a mind that comes into your circle, into your environment, that's not the right mind. So fighting is not only physical fighting. When when we're teaching techniques, we're always shifting, we're always moving. So conversations are those same things. I have fights in conversations. It doesn't have to become hostile. It doesn't have to be hostile. All it is that if someone comes with something that's slick, then the question is, did you get caught by surprise? Did it make you angry? You should be ready for whatever comes. So on another level, I'm training at my workplace. So that's the thing I'm going to take everywhere. I'm taking my training to the mosque with me.
Yes, sir.
Why? I'm taking my training out in the field with me. I'm going to take my training with me. That is consistent because I have to always be ready to defend my life. Or, see, when we talk about my life, my physical life, or my spiritual life, or my mental life, I want to always be ready because, we have faults, we have frailties. We got to be ready. We must be ready for whatever is going to come our way. And you just have to know if you're going to defend yourself hard, or you're going to just sidestep, and move, or do you need to sweep them off their feet? All of that can be done without actually touching people.
Yes, sir. The students are want to know how to get better. And, if there's some type of formula that will help us to get better, that's almost tangible. So this person asks, what is your training routine with kicks, strikes, and techniques? How many hours should I practice my stances? And how many hours should I stretch a day?
How many hours? Well, it really depends on you. For instance, I was just mentioning work, right? Depends on what your work is. For instance, if you sit at a desk, are you going to exercise while you're at your desk? Can you do anything at your desk and not look like you working out? Sure you can. There are various things that you can do. So how many hours do you give? Well, every time I think about it, it's a part of the time that I'm spending on training. How often are you thinking? How many hours do you think about it? So in terms of physical training, how many hours should you do? Well, if you did a couple of hours, if you spent a couple of hours, or even if you spent a half an hour every day, and half an hour every day. Listen, when you get up in the morning, or when you go to sleep, before going to sleep, if you train, do something before you go to sleep. Because, how many of us have gone to sleep, or I should say, we've gone to sleep and then we wake up and we don't wake up with the right attitude? Meaning, how many have said, man, I just got up on the wrong side of the bed.
Yes, sir.
This morning, I just don't feel like that this morning. Well, that's only because, that's one of the things, is because you went to sleep without giving yourself some time. Do something that'll keep your mind focused. And this is not to get away from how much physical time, but everybody's time is different. Everybody's time is different. How much time you need is not the same that I give you a blank time period. The question is, how much time are you willing to give, is the question. Because we waste a lot of time. We waste a lot of time. The question is, are we going to spend some of that time doing something that's going to benefit you and possibly save your life? I'll answer it that way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this next question, as long as I've been knowing you, I have never heard you put down another system, right? You've always taught us as students to respect every system. I once heard a martial artist say that every system is good for what it was designed to do. So the question is, what was VSK designed to do?
Man, well, definitely designed to save your life and to make you aware of the realities of the world so that you can prepare yourself to defend yourself against the ills of society. But when I think about my teachers, Soke Little John Davis, Grand Professor Friend of Visitacion, and Dr. Moses Powell, they all went into various styles. They searched for what they wanted, and they took pieces of many different systems. I remember Doc, in Chicago, he would go to Aikido schools. He would go and get whatever he would get. But he would bring it with him. And see, when he made it a part of what he did, whatever he studied Banda, and you may have heard one of the podcasts where I was on with Mfudishi Masi. It's not Kalindi, but Khalil Masi. He was the son of a great master, and he was talking, about his father. But Doc was in a class with his father. Now he was already a master, and a master in the art, and had masters under him, but still, he was constantly, he was one, and each one of them, they're always studying to put more into themselves so that they can be the best that they can be, so that they can deliver to others. You'll never find Soke Little John Davis where he's not training. And he's looking, at stick fighting. He's looking at various things, and it's just profound to see a man who has been training as long as he has, and he's still training, studying, and perfecting what he has been doing. So you're always growing. You should always do things so that you can continue to grow, and not believe that you have everything that you need. Just know that you want to keep your mind open, and you take the best of whatever is presented to you. But you just have to have a level of you don't want to go into other systems thinking that you don't have what you need. You got to go into other systems looking to add to what you need.
Oh, and kind of along that lines of trying to find purpose. This question is, as an FOI, a member of the Fruit of Islam. Now, when it comes to martial arts, should our goal in martial arts as an FOI be simply to subdue the enemy?
No, absolutely not. You have to, there's a yes in there, but really, security is prevention. So I don't want to wait until I have to subdue him. I want to redirect him so that he does not even make it into the environment. So it's not just to subdue him, because there's, of course, the enemy inside you. And if you have to subdue him, that means that he has taken root and he's become an enemy inside you already. That's when you have to subdue him. But when you see him creeping up, is when you have to divert that kind of action or thinking. There's there's a physical reaction that you have to, you may have to defend yourself against, but we don't want to wait until we have to defend. We want to see it coming so that either we can move or we can redirect the energy that's coming to move so we don't even have to fight.
So along those lines, then, you know, we are taught to never be the aggressor.
That's right.
So when do we establish our rules of engagement? And you mentioned not waiting. You know, do we have to wait till it's an all-out aggression or?
Right. No, sir. No, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely not. I'm going to wait till someone attempts to punch at me. All I have to know is that his intention is to punch at me.
Yes.
So you can know that from a posture. So if the person postures, it's open season. It's open season because if you wait until he acts, you don't even know the kind of threat that you're going to be facing. Now, you can't do it because you're afraid. You have to do it because it is right to do. I do not have to have him coming close to my face in order for me to act. All I have to know is that the gesture is such that, you know, I have to act based on his action, not the position in which the action has gotten to. He is raising his hand as he is attempting to raise his hand, and we are in a confrontation in the sense that the communication is not a positive one, and he's coming in my presence. I'm not going to let the enemy set up on me. You know, countries don't allow for the opponent, the opposition country, to get in a position with their nuclear weapons to fire them before they act.
That's right.
No. So, no, we're not going to allow you to aim your weapons at us. Just like I won't let you aim your weapons at me. I'm going to just know that you have the ability to do such as you start aiming them. Okay?
Beautiful.
All right.
Now this question is from a person in a particular state, but I have to say that I've seen this question quite a bit, and I'm sure someone watching will have a similar question. Living in Minnesota, I, my family included, is wondering how can we learn and grow up in the ranks in VSK? If it isn't possible to learn VSK in Minnesota, is there another form of martial arts you would recommend us practicing?
Well, there are a number of styles that I would present, but I will say this first, that you should do all that you can. If it is what I'm doing that you want to see or you want to do, then you are also able to go online with me, and I can begin to train you via online. That is an option for you, but outside of that, styles, I love Aikido. I love Shotokan. I love a number of different styles. It's just not alone. You know, it's better that you have more than just having one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this person wants to know, how does VSK work on the ground?
It doesn't matter where you are. You know, it works in jail. It works. But, you know, whether you're on the ground or not. See, I know that there are those who study various styles of ground fighting. I believe that it's wonderful, you know, to have that aspect of ground fighting. You should have that, but you got to know that it almost always starts up top. And when you're on the ground, you definitely can't do that in the neighborhood. Because if you are not with those that are in the neighborhood and someone comes to you while you're on the ground, that's not the best position to be in a fight on the ground, unless you and the other person are the only ones that's fighting. So again, I don't believe that being a ground fighter there's anything wrong. I believe it's absolutely right, but I believe that you need more. You need an up game and a down game.
Yes. This person wants to know about becoming a master in VSK, and how long does it take to be a VSK master?
How long does it take? I would first say, if you're coming in with the idea of how long it takes, you're probably not where you need to be right now. Come in with the mindset just to be, and allow the God to bless you with continue. How long does it take to become a minister? Well, it depends on your commitment to the word. So, you know, I could say, well, to become a black belt, it can be anywhere from 3 to 5 years. But in truth, you know, there are some that start training, and because they don't give it enough energy, it'll take them 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 years to become a black belt. It's about the commitment. Your commitment is going to set the stage for how long. So don't come into the art looking for how long it takes. Just want to get under a master and allow what kind of commitment you have to turn you into a student or a master under a master. That's what I would say.
Beautiful. You know, today you taught also a women's class, and you spent time in the beginning developing the mindset, which is something that I've seen you not just do to women's class, you've done that quite frequently. When we're learning and we're training, what is the role, especially in self-defense in a life or death situation, what is the role that our mindset plays in that?
It's huge, your mindset. You know, your mindset, if you're a black belt and you don't have the right mindset, you can be made to look like a white belt. You have to have the right mindset, which will give or make you to have the proper intent. You have to have the proper intent in order to overcome the enemy. I mentioned today also that in terms of a law, and that is that an object that is in motion tends to stay in motion unless it's acted on by an equal or greater force. So if the mindset is not the right mindset, that if a woman moves into the study like she just wants to gain a better physical status, where she just wants to lose weight, or see, these are the intent is to do that. So what one has to have, in my opinion, and especially a woman, she has to know that your life and that which God gave you that is yours should not be taken by anyone that is not given permission. So what will you give to maintain your life? What will you give? What will you do to stay alive, to not lose your virtue? What will you do? Now, you can never get to, I will take somebody's life, if you don't have the intent to do that. You have to have the ability to establish the intent that's needed to overcome someone who wants to take advantage of you. And you can't do that if you don't have the right mindset. So I have to start off with the mindset to get us thinking properly, because many of us can't even see the kind of mind that's present out there in the world and what they will do to you. You got to know what they will do to you, and say to yourself that I'm not going to allow that to happen. And once you do that, then now we can bring your training up. But we have to work on your mindset so that you can have the mind to overcome your enemy, which is really you, not the one that comes up to you. It's you, because you got to be ready. They say if you are ready, you don't have to get ready. You have to already be ready to deal with a situation so that you don't have to get ready.
Beautiful. Well, Grandmaster, it's been a long day, and we thank you for your sacrifice, you coming to train us. And did we have a great time training? Thank you. If you could leave us with your final thoughts, and if I can add a little bit about what you've been sharing with us on the time that we live in. We live in a time of a lot of nevers. There's things happening that we never thought we would see happening. In relationship to training and the time that we live in, regardless to your age, regardless to your gender, regardless to your limitations, could you leave us with final thoughts about the time and how important our training is in this time?
Yes. Well, we're facing attacks from all sides. We're facing attack from the food. We're facing attack from so many different enemies that you have to be ready. Again, we're constantly being attacked. And there's an end result to the attacks. For instance, just think, everyone. There are foods that have fetal embryos in it. Listen, just think about that. What is the reason for something like that? What is the reason to have genetically modified foods that have carcinogenics in it? What is the purpose? See, there is no health, nothing that you can say is healthy that would make someone do that. You know, the pesticides, the things that is in some of the food You got to know that this is someone who's trying to kill you.
Wow. Yes, sir.
But we don't look at food like someone's trying to kill us. We look at food much like it's just, we just need to eat the right food. But none of the food back in the day had anything in it that was so destructive, that had so many chemicals. To know that there are some of these fast food restaurants, they talked about the strawberry shake, that it has, I think it was over 50 different chemicals. That was all something that was dangerous for you. Mm. Well, are you in defense of your life? Are you battling with an enemy that you can't see the enemy, but we'll still go to the store and get some of it?
Wow.
So anyway, I would just say you have to look at the world right now as attacking you. And you have to be ready to defend yourself against the world. Because all you need to know is who is attacking me. Am I in danger eating? Am I in danger drinking? Am I in danger? Those are dangerous situations. And then of course, walking the street, there is danger. Mm. But whoever sees the opponent, you have to study. They say the terrain.
Yes, sir.
Know your terrain in the art of war. It talks about knowing your terrain, because if you don't know your terrain, you're going to fail. You have to know the lay of the land so that as you move, you can position yourself, because you don't want the enemy to gain high territory. And again, we can just go into what that means in a lot of different areas.
Yes, sir.
But understand that if you are walking the street and there are persons that you feel, you don't have to know. You can just feel that something is not right. Change your direction. Well, it's going to make me go the long way. Well, if going the long way makes you stay alive longer, go the long way.
That's right.
It's better than going the wrong way. All right. So anyway, I would say that we have to be more aware of our enemy and that which is an assault on us. Be wiser. Be wiser with who your enemy is and what your enemy's using to cause harm to you.
Beautiful, beautiful, incredible. Let's give Grandmaster a warm round of applause.
Thank you.
And we have been fully fed. I hope you have been fully fed in our listening and watching and viewing audience. This has been a special episode of Walking with the Master, live from Kansas City, Missouri. And we will see you next week on Walking with the Master. Make sure to go to the official Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad's YouTube channel and find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram, and make sure to stay tuned. We have some good information coming soon. I'm hearing through the grapevine, we have some incredible information that you are not going to miss. Again, this has been another episode of Walking with the Master. I've been privileged to be your host for today with the Master, Grandmaster Abdul Aziz Muhammad. Us. Thank
you. Of a master here today, you reflect your master teacher. You want to walk like him. You want to talk like her. But you start by having an object in front of you that you admire.